Yesterday we were discussing about covalency of nitrogen. So for all students in general, let me declare that covalency means ability of any atom to form covalent bond. Now the discussion which was going on is that nitrogen can form NCl3 but not NCl5. Unlike phosphorus of the same group, they belong to the same group. Still, nitrogen can form both PCl5 and PCl3. However, PCl5 is thermally unstable. Meaning of that is PCl5 breaks into PCl3 and Cl2 gas. The reason thereby was that nitrogen has helium configuration, 2s2, 2p3 configuration, whereas phosphorus has neon configuration followed by 3s2, 3p3 and 3d0. Now, in both the cases, in both the cases, whether I take nitrogen or I take phosphorus, there is a tendency of this ns2 electron. These are the ns2 electron are reluctant, not inert. Means when high energy is given, then they can extend their covalency, but they are generally reluctant. They prefer to show +3 covalency or 3 covalency. Depends upon what is the other atom which it is bonded with. If I would have taken hydrogen, I would have written -3. So this is called as inert pair effect. Now, in no case this 2 electron can go to d orbital because there is no d orbital. No d orbital is available. So maximum covalency which it can show, this configuration can show is 3. And hence you will find that most of the nitrogen compounds are like most, not all, like NH3, NF3 and so on. But in some other compounds where this lone pair of electron can be donated in the form of a ligand, like if you take NH4, in NH4 what happens? Nitrogen is bonded with 3 hydrogen and there is one lone pair of electron in one of the sp3 hybrid orbital. This is showing sp3 hybridization. How? There were 2 electrons in this orbital and 3 electrons in the p orbital. So they intermix and they become hybrid orbital of equivalent energy level. This process is called as hybridization. So they come to equal energy level. Now in this equal energy level set of electrons, any other atom can come. Like here I have given hydrogen. So 1s of hydrogen, 1s of hydrogen, and 1s of hydrogen is come. In this context, I am saying that it cannot extend its covalency more than 3. Now, if it is talked about its valency to be 4, then how its valency becomes 4 also sometimes. It becomes 4 because it is a Lewis base. It is electron rich compound. Now, if you take a molecule like BF3, boron has only 3 electrons in the outermost shell. Boron has only 3 electrons in the outermost shell. B5, 1s2, 2s2, and 2p1. So there are 3 electrons only, including one inert pair. If it forms bond with hydrogen or chlorine, so if I take chlorine, 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 then chlorine has 7 unpaired electrons. Now, although chlorine here in this case although chlorine will be able to get its octet chlorine is completing its octet, but boron will not be able to complete its octet. Boron will be having only 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So these are electron deficient compounds. As it was electron rich compound, it had lone pair of electron, excess of electron other than bond formation. It has 6 electrons only. So this is an exception to the valence bond theory also. Now here, this is electron deficient compound. So what happens? Whenever any electron rich compound and an electron deficient compound comes closer to each other, like NH3, with lone pair of electron, then they form a kind of bond called as this kind of bond which is formed is called as dative bond. Okay. बात करता हूँ सर से पढ़ा नहीं है मैंने इसको आप साइन करवा लीजिए फिर मैं देख लेता हूँ So this dative bond is shown by an arrow. Now, this dative bond is little different from covalent bond, and hence we don't keep it under covalency thing. We this is a called as this is called as dative bond or coordinate bond. The difference between covalent bond and the coordinate bond is its mode of formation. A covalent bond is formed necessarily by sharing one electron. When one electron will be shared, then it is called as covalent bond. But if electron pair is donated, then it is a dative bond. But after the bond formation, there is no difference between the property of the bonds. It starts behaving like covalent bond, because when two electrons are shared, ultimately two electrons are there in between the two atoms. But the difference is in the process of bond formation. So what is happening here is covalency is extended in terms of dative bond, not in terms of covalent bond. Okay, and that is how that dogma was created, that nitrogen can also show maximum covalency of 4. Now say if an MCQ question comes that what can be the maximum covalency of nitrogen, then if you compare NCl3 and PCl3, PCl5, these three things if you compare, then you will see that say that uh, nitrogen cannot extend its covalency more than 3, because if I will say that nitrogen can extend its covalency up to 4, then why should I not write NCl4? And if I write it as NCl4, then what will be the difference of nitrogen with that of carbon? There will be no difference, CCl4 and NCl4. And hence, that is why I was saying that in context to explanation of the reason of NCl3, PCl3 and PCl5, we say that in this case, this electronic configuration, nitrogen cannot extend its covalency of 2p3 any further to show its covalency more than 3. Not about the covalency extended by showing its dative bond formation property. One more case you see of dative bond formation. One more case. So, if it is ammonia and it has lone pair of electron here, then if one H plus ion comes, H plus ion has vacant s orbital. H plus ion, H will have, hydrogen has only one electron. So H plus will have 1s0 electron, it has no electron. So it tries to imbibe with this lone pair. And again, this type of bond is actually dative bond, but after it is formed, then it becomes just like covalent bond. But you see that after forming this covalent bond, this positive charge is now becoming the property of the whole molecule. So this extension of covalency up to 4 takes place only when the lone pair of electron is donated to any electron deficient species. H plus is also electron deficient species. BF3 or BCl3 is also electron deficient species. So what is the bottom line? If someone asks you straightforward, what is the maximum covalency which can be shown by nitrogen atom? Then answer will be definitely 4. Now, if somebody asks you that why nitrogen, although can show maximum covalency of 4, but it does not form AnCl4, then you have to explain this dogma. First reason. Reason 1. Nitrogen has helium, 2s2, 2p3 configuration. The 2s2 electrons is inert pair, and also there is no vacant d orbital of nitrogen atom, so that one of the electrons can be promoted to higher orbital to make it unpaired. Reason 2. NCl3 is a neutral molecule. If at all NCl3 उल्टा लिखा forms equal to NCl4, it will acquire one negative charge. It will acquire a negative charge because of this additional electron. Here electron pair is being given. So we can write chloride ion is not electron deficient. So dative bond cannot also form. That is why dative bond बनेगा ही नहीं, तो NCl4 का सवाल ही नहीं उठता. Hence Hence, beyond NCl3, NCl4 or NCl5 cannot form. It cannot form. So in context to the comparison of, in context to the comparison of PCl3 and NCl3 and PCl5, in context to the comparison of NCl3, PCl3, and PCl5, nitrogen, we say nitrogen cannot extend its covalency more than 3. So when it is said that nitrogen cannot extend its covalency more than 3, it is not said that maximum covalency is 3 only. See the connotation. Okay, that is it. So this was the explanation of the doubt which was created yesterday. Now these 4 nuggets we have to see today, in which we had seen about the reactivity of hydrogen. All elements of group 15, they form hydrides, and the stability of the hydrides decrease from nitrogen to bismuth hydride, which can be observed from their bond dissociation enthalpy. What happens if you see it in the form of a picture like this? NH bond, and if you compare like that, bismuth hydride, as bond length will increase, its bond strength will decrease. And bond length increases because increase in the size of the atom. So all are interrelated. Okay, atomic radius increases, so covalent radius increases, so bond length increases, and that is why bond dissociation energy decreases. Okay, bond is weaker. Which bond? Metal hydrogen bond. As you go down, it becomes more and more metallic. So thermal stability of the hydrides decreases down the group. Basicity also decreases from ammonia to bismuth. Ammonia is a strong base, strong Lewis base, because it can give its lone pair of electron. Now, as the size of the atom increases, the density of the electron pair also becomes lesser and lesser. As a result, the basicity also decreases. Basicity also decreases because these hydrides, they actually are supposed to act as Lewis base. So if you check their Lewis basic character, then ammonia will be a stronger Lewis base than any other base in the Lewis base in the group. Which kind of base we compare? We compare their Lewis base nature. Lone pair is there. If it donates its lone pair easily, so it is easy. But if you see a bigger atom, so the lone pair also remains diffused on a bigger atom. In a bigger atom, the lone pair also gets diffused. As a result, this is a stronger base than this. So basic property decreases down the group, and bond energy also decreases down the group in case of hydrides. Two types of oxides can be formed. Two types of oxides can be formed. Am I extending my time? 10:25 to 11:05. Okay, about to finish. So easiest method to understand the reactivity is if we know their valency, we can find out what kind of oxides they can form. Since they have two types of valency, phosphorus, nitrogen, and phosphorus, if we see, if it reacts with oxygen, oxygen has -2 valency, nitrogen has different types of valencies, so it can show 5 different types of oxides. It can show NO, it can show NO2, it can form N2O3, it can show N2O4, it can show N2O5. Phosphorus with oxides, they form P2O3, P2O5, and P2O5 itself exists as P4O10. Obviously, as metallic property will increase, oxides will become more and more basic. Down the group. These elements react to form two series of halides. This was about oxides. So oxides of higher oxidation state of the elements are more acidic than the lower oxidation state. Lower oxidation state is shown by the metals down the group, and higher oxidation state is shown by the nonmetals towards the upper side. See, the oxides of nitrogen and phosphorus are purely acidic, but that of arsenic and antimony is amphoteric, and bismuth oxides are basic. So as you go down the group, what happens? Oxides becomes more and more basic. Then reactivity towards halogens. It can form PCl3 and PCl5, which we have seen. NCl3 it can form, NCl5 it cannot form. So about that we had a detailed discussion. Okay, and this forms electron-rich compounds. So this was about the chemical properties. Okay, just to show you, like nitrogen can form NCl3, NF3, phosphorus can form PCl5, PCl3. So it depends upon there is provision to extend its covalency or not. So that was all about the chemical properties of p block elements. So we'll see the, okay, this one is there. Reactivity of metals. Phosphorus forms calcium phosphide. Calcium has +2 valency, so P2, and phosphorus is showing 3 valency, so 3. Calcium nitride, calcium phosphide, sodium arsenide, zinc antimonide, and magnesium bismuthide. How to write correct chemical formula? The same concept is used here. How to write correct chemical formula? So some metals are taken, like calcium is taken, sodium is taken, calcium has +2 valency, nitrogen has -3, so it forms Ca3N2 calcium nitride. Similarly, Ca3P2 calcium phosphide. Sodium has +1 valency, and nitrogen has arsenic has +3 valency. So they form, compared to this, it will be -3 if you compare it with sodium. So it will be Na3As. Also remember that nitrogen exists as azide group. So in this case, it forms NaN3. Similarly, bismuth and magnesium. Magnesium has +2 valency. Bismuth has -3 valency compared to magnesium. So like this, we form Mg3Bi2. So in this way, they form compounds with metals also, because p block elements have more non-metallic property than the s block elements. S block elements are highly metallic, d block elements are highly metallic, but p block elements are non-metallic. So they can form salts with s block elements, and d block elements, like in case of zinc, antimonide, zinc antimonide. So there can be a question that although antimony is a metal and zinc is also a metal, then why it is forming a salt? So we'll say that p block elements are having non-metallic property more than the d block elements. So d block elements are more metallic, and hence they have comparable difference in their electronegativity, and hence they can form salt. That was it for today. If you have any question, you can put in that WhatsApp group for class 12th. All right. By then, how many are present? 20 are present.